Blanca is the first one we're going to call on today. And so Blanca, without further ado, tell us, how was last week? How was your weekend? But more importantly, Blanca, how was your work week? What was happening? What you really made a difference last week? What'd you do?
I talked to a lot of people last week. And one thing that I've kind of been increasing more on with my social media is talking more about real estate. I've always kind of been weird about social media and real estate, and trying to find that balance of being authentic and not pushing and not feeling too salesy. But one neat thing you might want to think about is that right now there's a lot of people that are not going to renew their licenses.
So let's do this. Not to interrupt, I'm not an interrupter too much sometimes. What did you do last week to make it the best week? What did you do last week? I guess
I talked to a lot of people.
Good. So you talked to a lot of folks. You did a lot of social media. That's great. Let's stay on point. So my next question for you, Blanca, what are you going to do this week to make it the absolute best week ever?
I'm going to talk to even more people. I'm going to be out there talking to my old clients. I got to get back on my FSBO calls.
Okay. What are you going to do to make that happen?
Put it in the calendar.
It's
already in the calendar. Just follow it.
Put it in the calendar and it'll happen. It's something you must do. It's an appointment you cannot miss. So time block 2 hours. FSBO's expired, canceled, probate, divorce, my circle of influence. I will be reaching out. I will be calling, texting, and emailing everybody on that list. And just put it in your calendar, and there's nothing else that can get in the way, period. That's how you're going to get accomplished, in my opinion. Do you agree?
No, you're right. I mean, it's not going to do itself.
So I also want to try
calling. Yeah. I want to try calling the agents with the Zudilio thing, the ones that are about to expire, what you had talked about last week.
You're in luck. We're going to talk about that today. Blanca, I'm so glad you're on the call today. That's awesome. It's so good to see you. Hey, Kevin Fagan out of San Antonio. What's happening, Kevin Fagan? So the same question for you. How was last week? How was your weekend? But more importantly, more than anything, really, because last week was just kind of a rear view mirror look at what you needed to do better, what you need to do, keep doing. So how was last week? And the reason why I bring up the weekend, a lot of agents need to get out there and work on the weekends. But more importantly, what are you going to do Kevin, this week to make it the best week ever?
Right. Yeah, last week I went to 2 different events. One was a meet and greet, or kind of a networking group that I had not been to before. That had about 35 people there from different industries. Again, it wasn't an agent gathering. In other words, I did go to an agent gathering specifically that had about 10 people. That was on Tuesday. So a Tuesday deal with the agents, Friday deal with the networking group, just to get my some exposure out there. This week we've implemented some rent to own ads, Instagram and Facebook oriented, using ManyChat or connecting ManyChat. If y'all don't know what that is, it's an automated bot to just help, answer, or give automated responses immediately, so you don't miss leads. Basically, this is a way of capturing more leads. So I implemented that. We got about 4 leads over the weekend just from that. So I'm following up today on those. So we'll see.
So basically, what you're doing is you're implementing systems to increase your lead source.
Right.
You're expanding your opportunities. You're fine tuning. You're getting systems in place. And I think the only other thing to do is really track and measure your numbers, so you know where you need your in-flight adjustments, where you need the tweaking, and so you know how many it takes. For instance, it may take 100 phone calls to get 5 listings. Track those numbers so you know where you can tweak it. Dude, I'm super stoked for you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Carla, up to you last week. How was last week? How was your weekend? More importantly, Carla, what are you going to do to make it the best week ever?
Hi, everybody. Last week was really good. I kind of kickstarted my escrow venture that I'm doing with my friend Susanna, and that went really well. I got a lot of good feedback. Had a great Zoom, well, tried to have a great Zoom call, but I had a great call with William. And this week I am ready to do the same. I know it's the week before Christmas, but I'm pretty much done with my shopping, and I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling with work, and I'm ready for the holidays as well.
Well, you know, Carla, thanks for sharing. I think it's funny how when you talk to people, we're pretty much done. It's like you're never really done. Even after Christmas, you're really never done. So it just made me chuckle inside, because every time I turn around, I'm like, are you really ever done with Christmas? I mean, Christmas is like, hurry, oh my God, this is crazy. And then it's here and it's like, now it's gone. It's like, oh my God, it's news. So it just made me chuckle inside more than anything else.
I had to hurry up. I had to hurry up and put my background back here, because what you saw before was piles of presents behind me.
No, that's all good. We love that. We love that. So and Carla's going to expand a little bit upon what some of the marketing she's doing in the escrow space. So she's going to share that in a second. So super stoked you're on. Christine, ready to rock and roll, out there making things happen. Same question to you, Christine. How was last week? How was your weekend? More importantly, Christine, what are you going to do to make this the best week ever?
Oh, the past couple of weeks have been a little bit stressful, but now I'm back in the game. This week, I'm going to focus on your texting, email, and calling out to people and agents as well.
You know what, Christine, I think that's great. And the one thing I really want to point out, you said something super huge that I want to repeat. You're back in the game. We had 2 weeks that got us off our game, and now we're back into the game. That's the beautiful part about this call and about a Monday in general, is you could look back and go, wow, the last 2 weeks really sucked. They were terrible.
Yeah.
They were not profitable. They weren't what I expected. The good news is you can start fresh today. Every single day is a new opportunity to just wipe off the bad and let's go kick today's ass and make it the best week ever. So my biggest thing, I love that. You've identified, because here's the worst thing, is you said 2 weeks, but if let's say it went 2 years, I mean, you need to make your in-flight adjustments as quickly as possible. So I commend you for identifying that you need to get back on track, get back and going. So Christine's super stoked. And that's what hopefully these calls are about getting you back on track. That like when you're in the ER and they go boom, and they hit with the paddles, we want to pop you and get you ready to rock and roll and get you excited. So Christine, thanks for being on. Carmen Jackson, how are you? Same question, really. How was last week? How was your weekend? More importantly, Carmen, what are you going to do to make this the best week ever?
Last week was mostly about getting back into the flow of things. I met with you and Carla on Friday for the HUD presentation. I met with Jordan regarding joining Nexa in their program, and I got the letter from Jordan and Ryan, and I think I need to return that back to you guys. I'm not sure. So just getting back into the flow, set up some alerts. So I'm getting for sale by owners dropped into my email box every morning off of Zillow. And that's where I'll just start with I'm going to add to my distressed property marketing and add to that the for sale by owner and the long-term listings that we're going to talk about today to approach those with
we're going to cover a lot of that stuff. But did you hear a common theme, guys? Setting up systems. Blanca, setting up systems. This is the most amazing time in the history of the world, at least during the calendar. December is a wonderful way to make sure your systems are dialed in. KV Core, your marketing strategy, social media. Some don't want to do social media, but I certainly think it's an important medium to get your business message out. You don't need to talk about what you had for breakfast. You can certainly just do a business page in social media. So all you social media haters, jump on the plane, get on there. Let's do this. So Carmen, thank you so much for sharing. The key word so far here is systems. Speaking of systems, one of the best lending systems I've ever seen, and I've been in the business a long time. More importantly, 15 years I spent in the mortgage banking space. And this young man, we've got 2 young men on the call that are going to blow your socks off. But Jordan's up first, and I want to introduce Jordan. We'll come back to a little bit of what's happening in the mortgage space. But Jordan, same question to you. how was last week? How was your weekend? More importantly, Jordan, what are you going to do to make this week the best week ever?
Last week was great. We met with about 40 real estate agents last week. This week, what we're doing is rounding up their information, getting our commitment letters out, and getting their info so we can start our value add with them. Making sure that we proactively help them with their business versus reactively. So this week, we're going to accomplish that, execute that, put the systems in place, just like we were talking about, and make sure that we're giving back to our agents.
Well, you know what, Jordan, it's certainly great to have you on the call. And do you guys feel the confidence in his voice? This is not his first day doing this. He is very systematic. He is going to help you agents. I know he's already helped me, so I can speak from personal assistance. I'm personal background. I've got data to work with. He's amazing. And we all have relationships in the, affiliate space, but I certainly want you to reach out and talk to Jordan. Jordan will drop his information into the chat box, and I'll share that with everybody else that's watching this video. So Jordan, thanks for being on, buddy. Another fine young man in the mortgage space, our good man, Ryan Mangold. Ryan, what's happening? How was last week for you? How was the weekend? More importantly, Ryan, what are you going to do to make this the best week ever?
Last week was real busy. Had quite a few calls with realtors. I've got a listing closing right after Christmas, so just had to finish some things up with that. And then just working on some mortgage stuff and kind of getting things ready for the new year. I've got to get my real estate CE done, so I was working on that last week. I want to go into the new year without that on my plate, and just making sure that like my time block and schedule for the new year is exactly how I want. So when the first comes around, I'm focusing all on things that make me money instead of things that just take time away.
Amen to that. It's that's huge. I mean, you put it on your calendar is the first step, and making sure that the things that are on your calendar are actually meaningful. Because I don't know about you, but I literally wake up when I get to work, I'm here to earn. And so many of us we forget that. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because sometimes we get lost in the minutia. So Jordan and Ryan are doing a great job for us with Nexa Mortgage, and I'll have Jordan and Ryan expand on that when we go into our partners portion. But Ryan, so glad you're on the call, my friend. William Jackson, same question for you. How was last week? How was this weekend? More importantly, William Jackson, what are you going to do to make this the best week ever?
Last week, I made calls, going through my calling for FISBOs, cancels, etc. And I followed up last week with clients who attended the open house the previous weekend. And so I worked on that. And then I also worked with a couple of buyers that I was pushing to, get a couple of sales made. And I spent a little time in agent attraction. I had an agent, but this week I'm going to follow up just making my calls. Actually, I'll be working for 3 days, and then I'm going to take a little vacation. But I will be making calls those 3 days. I will be following up, working with a buyer that I have. We have to clean up some things on the title, and I will also spend a little time with agent attractions. So I love it. Week planned out.
Put it on your calendar and make it happen, brother. Appreciate you being on. We've got a couple more that we're going to get to. We've got some early folks that came on, so we go through that. Then we're going to jump into the things that we want to go over. So John Citro, this guy right here, I got to tell you a quick story about John. John and I were at EXP Con. We're in the bar. We're having a couple drinks. We're having fun. It was a lot of energy was going on. Overstimulated, and it's loud. And fast forward. About a week, John, after EXPCon, he emails me. He's like, "Hey, Robert, your Padres beat my Dodgers, and I owe you $100." Is that how it went down, John?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it.
Like 2 or 3 weeks later, calls me, and I didn't really necessarily remember the conversation. It was just more of a "we're gonna beat you, and I'll bet you $100" kind of thing. The character of this guy. He calls me up. He says, "Hey, I don't know if you remember," which I vaguely do now. but he saw, I owe you $100. I lost. That's the integrity that I love to surround myself with. And the reason why I tell that story is because doesn't that make you feel good that there's really good people in the world? So I wanted to thank John for doing that. He sent $100 not to me, but to my favorite charity. And I tell you what, that was my aha moment of the year. So John, thanks for being on today. Same question for you. What did you do last week?
I think John and I made that same bet. So I don't know if he recalls, but
yeah, you know, that knowing you, that's I believe that. So John, last week, excuse me. You know, how was last week? How was your weekend? More importantly, John, what are you going to do this week to make it absolutely the best week ever?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words there, Mr. Weichelt. I appreciate that. Last week, follow the theme, getting systems set up. I got my cash offer platform dialed in, my home IQ page dialed in. I know I got a call with Ryan and Jordan a couple hours here, so looking forward to that. But yeah, getting my systems dialed in, getting my calendar blocked off, and getting all that set up. And this week, going to start implementing that and reaching out to prospective new clients.
You know what? I love it. I love it, man. I tell you, thanks for being on the call. Thanks for focusing. And we're all working. We're all keeping the pedal to the metal, which I dig, because so many agents, I can't tell you how many agents I've been trying to get a hold of, you know, about their aged offers. And they're just like, it takes forever for them to get back to me, you know, and I'm simply saying, hey, I'm calling on your property. Can you call me back real quick? I have a few questions before I submit an offer. They've all taken off. They just have pulled the throttle back. And I love that on this call, we're all putting the pedal to the metal. So that's super awesome. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and share a couple of things. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm just going to I'm going to go in a little bit of particular order. This is Santa Claus. So let's, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's Santa Claus's new number. Carla made this for me. Just kidding. It's mine. Santa doesn't help agents grow their business. This is just another way to just reach out to the agent community that I've been working with and just letting them know I'm thinking about them. I just, you know, you need to come up with something just to remind people. You may have been on an agent attraction call or two. You may have been, you know, have them come to your events or attend your webinars and what else are you doing to do a memory jogger with these agents? It's not just, hey, let me know if you have any questions. We need to have a drip system for building our partners as well, like we do our buyers and our sellers. So what is your drip system? And that's the main reason why I wanted to post this up. Number one, it makes me laugh my ass off. And thank you, Carla, for doing this. But more importantly, is it serves as a reminder is what are we doing to follow up with our buyers, follow up with our sellers, follow up with our agents, not only the agents that we work with, but the agents that we want to work with. So what is your system? Are you going to the KV Core training with James Cottrell, Coach James Cottrell? He's one of the most amazing minds on KV Core. Are you reaching out to him and saying, hey, listen, I need to get this KV Core thing dialed in? So that's what this is. It serves me as a reminder of keeping track with your database, you know, following up, not only buyers and sellers, but agents. Every week I send out this email, and I just want to bring it back up. I send out kind of a success target of things that we need to remind ourselves in 2023. I've attached the goals and actuals because I think tracking and measuring is the number one thing for me. I can haul ass in a certain direction. I've got a lot of energy, a lot of willpower. I'll call my physicals expired, my cancels, my probates, and all rock and roll. But then at the end of the week, I don't know how many calls I made, and I forget how many appointments I've gotten, and there were only really numbers that I know for sure the actual listings taken. So years ago, I started tracking, measuring my numbers, and I have my numbers pretty dialed in, but they're always getting better. I'm learning and growing as well. 37 years into this business, and one thing I know is I don't know everything. But what I'm doing is I need to track and measure my numbers, and that's the whole reason for the Monday morning goals and actuals accountability call, is because we need to track and measure our numbers. So I send out to everybody every single week reminders of what we've got going on this week. And attached, you'll have the goals and actuals sheet. And here's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to share it on my screen. But what are you keeping track of your numbers? So it's super important. These are my weekly goals and actuals. And this is for 2023. My 2022 goals are obviously different than this, but I'm expanding. So what are you going to do to make 2023 the best year ever? But are you tracking and measuring? How many days are you going to work? Now, this, you can lie to yourself all you want, but a 4-hour day is not a full work day, in my opinion. I would calculate it not to work 9 to 5 or anything, but I think an 8-hour work day where you're actually working, not checking Facebook and texting cute, none of that. Actual work time. Be honest with yourself. How many hours are you actually putting in per day when you're working? Now, if you have full-time obligations outside of real estate, I get it. But when you're in your work zone, the time block, the number of hours that you've put aside to grow your real estate business, that consider that a work day. So my point is really keep track of your numbers. How many days are you going to work? Total of hours of prospecting. You know how to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. So how many hours are you prospecting per week? You know what I mean? So don't try to do it all at one time. Spread it out over the 6-day work week or 5-day work week or whatever your work week looks like. Once you've done that prospecting, it's important to keep track of how many contacts you actually made. How many contacts you actually made is really going to be indicative of the amount of leads you're going to generate. So obviously, the more touches it's going to take to get X amount of leads. So I need to contact 100 people, and my goal is to generate 20 leads. And of those 20 leads, I want to generate 4 listing appointments. Now you're going to jump on a Zoom call. I do all my listings via Zoom, and you're going to jump on a call, and somebody's just it's not working. They're not realistic with their price. They're angry, or they're just you don't want to work with them. The property's not right. Whatever it happens, that's going to come up. But I'd rather find that out on a quick 5-10 minute Zoom call than driving to somebody's home. I want to pre-qualify these sellers in a sense. I'm vetting these sellers. I don't need to work with everyone. But you're going to, of those 4 appointments, you're going to take 3 listings. Of those 3 listings, 2 are going to close. But are you tracking and measuring? How many buyers are you going to get from all the processes we have in place? Bob Mangold loves to talk about taking 1 listing and turning them into 5. I very, very am committed to that. I want to squeeze as much juice out of my open house. I want to work with as many buyers, as many agents, and as many future sellers as possible. Are you tracking and measuring? So buyer controlled sales. Right now, we're going to start seeing some price reductions. It was funny, for the last 3 years of doing these, price reductions really wasn't a question that came up. But now it's more important to have that conversation. Even with our style of selling, find out what the market value is, bring the price 15 plus below starting for a starting price. Even in that market, you're still having sellers that are declining rapidly, and we need to have the price conversation. Okay. How many role play sessions are you doing? Are you getting in and talking about, if you're prospecting FSBOs, are we role playing FSBO conversations with people? You know, you want to practice this. Tom Brady doesn't just wake up and go win a Super Bowl. There's a lot of practice in between. So are we doing our role-playing sessions? I don't have any listings, so I can't do an open house. Let's say you talk like that. Go find a listing in your area and ask the agent, say, listen, I'd love to hold your open house this Saturday and or Sunday. Generate business. If you don't have business, go generate it. An open house costs you nothing except for time. Go there and talk to the buyers that are coming and have those shrunk down windows. You want to activate and do them in your neighborhood so you know what's happening. So open houses, if you don't have a listing, go do some open houses and really generate buyer leads, seller leads, investor leads, agent leads. It's an amazing tool. Pop buys are right now is a very important time for pop buys. Popping by a past client with maybe a little Christmas token of appreciation for their past business, or some reason to stop by and actually drop things off. And with buyers and sellers, and just popping in, and whether it be on the phone or an email or dropping into their home, but just a quick message to say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. And now's, the holidays are the best time to do it. Christmas is the best time to do that, in my opinion. So agent intro calls. Are we reaching out to agents that we know, love, and trust and want to work with? Keep track of those numbers. I need 20 agents to pick up, one more agent onto my team. Track those numbers. You know that you need to call 40 to get 2, and so on. So really keep track and measure, but more importantly, don't lose sight of this. And I always put personal goals, and the reason why I put it down at the bottom first, because I call this best for last. Family. Are you spending time with family? I can tell you, when I was a young man, first in the business, I was full throttle, 6 in the morning to 10 at night, always working. And then my kids are, growing up. So I look back and I don't think I spent as much time as I'd like, because thinking back, I'd like to spend every waking moment. But my point is, you need that balance. So you need to have the personal goals. You need to really write that down. We have adult children. And if you let too much time go away, it's 2-3 weeks since you last seen them. Wait a second. Does that make sense? We start getting involved and caught up in life. So we do family dinner at least once a week. We like to do it on Sunday, but not always can we, because our son is a firefighter or paramedic and he's got a weird schedule. So we can't always do it, but it has to be written down. We got to remind ourselves, okay, you guys, what's our family dinner this week? It's not a matter of if we're meeting, it's about where we're meeting. Okay. Date night. Well, if you have a significant other, your spouse, your friends, you need to have time with people that make you just super fired up. Are you exercising? Are you in it for the long haul? I tell you what, I'm not exercising nearly as much as I should. I know that. I've got my weights in the middle of my room, so I have to literally trip over them to get in and out of my office. That's what I do to remind myself, come on, man, let's do this. You need to put it on the calendar, and sometimes it takes an extra push. Do you have an accountability partner? Do you have somebody to share these numbers with? I would certainly be a resource for you. We can do that on these calls. So with that said, I just wanted to show you what's attached in our email. It's the goals and actuals. Do yourself a favor. Coach Norm Mead and I are doing a 12-week year, and we're going to be going over that, and we're putting some of the stuff together. So those of you that will be involved in that with Coach Norm and I, this is what we'll be using to keep and measure, track and measure our numbers. So with that said, I just wanted to point that out. And with that said, I also want to welcome Rosa Barnes. She just jumped on. A few others have jumped on, so welcome. But I want to get in with Jordan and Ryan real quick, and then we'll get to Carla. Jordan, the market is up, down, and all around. The rates are up, the rates are down. You never know what you're listening to in the news. Why don't you get us caught up with, say, the Mortgage Minute, and just kind of let us know what's happening in the mortgage space and what should agents be really kind of concern themselves with?
I would say rates are leveling out a little bit the last week. Inflation has been the lowest it's been in the last year. So we did see a drop in rates last week, more than anything. Just last week, I've really have been setting up to help clients get lower interest rates by either asking for closing costs. We have the 2-1 buy down, 3-2 buy down. And I actually had the opportunity where someone was trying to do a 2-1 buy down and get a lower temporary rate, that we did a permanent buy down at a 4.875 last week. So rates are leveling out a bit. Keep promoting to get with your lender to talk about that. How do we attack this market? How do we make offers to where we can get into those lower interest rates, either with a permanent buy down or a temporary buy down? Because what you're going to see is inflation is going to continue to level out. And as inflation drops, or we see more inflation drop, those rates will start coming back down. So either people are going to be refinancing in the next year or 2 years, or they're going to do these buy downs with either seller concessions or some sort of paying out of their pocket to get those permanent rates. What I would recommend more than anything is don't buy into the hype. Buy what do they call it? Marry the house, or date the rate. Marry the house or something like that,
yeah,
right?
Rate, marry the house.
Yeah. So interest rates are just temporary. Just keep reminding them that we are on a downswing here within the next year.
That's certainly great information, because I tell you what, owning a home is far better than renting. That is for sure. Ryan, anything else to add to what Jordan just talked about in terms of what's going on in the market? Anything you'd like to add in the mortgage space?
Well, no, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it looks like Jordan, you can tell Jordan's, he's got a lot of coaching and training background, and the guy knows his stuff. I mean, I thought I knew mortgages. I got to tell you, I'm a babe in the woods compared to these guys. So, Jordan and Ryan, thank you so much for being on. If you need to reach out to Jordan and Ryan, their information's in the chat box. I can certainly post it in this recording, as well as just reach out to them directly, or reach out to me and I'll get it to you. So I want to be a resource for you, the agents, and I appreciate some of our best resources being on this call today. So cool. Jordan and Ryan, thank you so much. Carla,
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas. If we don't see you,
yeah,
trying to head to my next
you
meeting.
so much for
Have
being
a good
on,
one.
guys. Appreciate
John, I'll see you later today.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So Carla,
Bye.
let's go to you. I want to put Carla in the hot seat real quick. My beautiful bride back there with her wonderful background, Christmas background. Carla's been in the business a long time. She's been, her and I have been in the title business together back in the long time ago. and we've owned real estate companies and mortgage companies and construction companies and escrow companies, and you name it. We've been in the real estate game for quite some time. We've, been married since 1990, but together a few years before that. So she was always around it. And she's just so good at the marketing and at the support. And she's been given an opportunity to go work with her friend that she mentioned, Susanna, a good friend, and one of the best damn escrow officers I've worked with, but just all around really just a cool person. And that's important. Somebody that knows what they're doing and they're cool to work with. That's the ultimate. And so Carla's gone to work with Susanna, and I'll let Carla expand a little bit about how she can help you grow your business, but more importantly, how you can get a hold of her so you guys can start collaborating and start doing transactions together. So Carla, why don't you just do a quick intro of what you're doing, and super stoked to have you on.
Thank you. As Robert mentioned, I'm working with my friend Susanna. She's an escrow officer and has been one for 24 plus years. Our company is CalWest Escrow. We have an office here in San Diego, Mission Valley, but we also have one in in LA. And so she also is very experienced when it comes to the REO market. Back when the REOs were here, she did a lot of REOs. She works on commercial, residential, REO, all the above. Within 24 years, she's done it all. So she's a great escrow officer. She'd be on the call today, but she's busy working on files, as it goes the end of the year, trying to get those done. So I told her, don't worry, we got you. And a lot of you, I think, have met her maybe on a call or in person. Carmen met her the other day. And we're just excited for our new venture together. And she is available for any net sheets that you may need, and any questions on escrow that you may have. Even if you're in another escrow right now with somebody else and you have a question and you can't get a hold of that escrow officer, make sure to give us a call. We'll answer what we can. Our company has been in the business for, we got 50 plus years experience. And like I said, we do commercial, escrow, finance, new construction, REO. So we've been in the business for a while. So we have the experience that you may need. And as far as marketing, like Robert was mentioning, I do a lot of marketing for agents as far as their closings. I share their listings. I'll announce when they close something, and I'll make a marketing piece and post it on Facebook. And so if that's something that you're in need of or want, let us know. But I'm just a phone call and email away. So let me know if you have any questions.
Well, Carla, I certainly am super stoked for your opportunity, because you've done so great with this marketing piece right here. As simple as it is, she creates these for me. She creates that Santa. She creates all those marketing birthdays. She does so much great stuff. So I encourage you to reach out to her. And yes, Kevin, she's just in California, so she's not in Texas yet, in Atlanta, of course. But if you're in California, Carla's going to be a great resource for you. So super stoked. With that said, some of the marketing that we've been pushing out. So Carla, thanks for being on, Ryan and Jordan. Oh my gosh, our team is wonderful. The biggest thing I've been really reaching out for the last quarter is finding out what agents' game plan is for 2023. Because most agents that I've talked to, sure, October, even November is a little early to really get your business plan going, but is it? Fine tune it and come up with your finished product by the end of the year. And it takes me sometimes, spending a little time on it as we get to the end of the year. But what the last thing you really want to do is okay, it's January 1st. Okay, now what am I doing? I would say we lost too much time there. I would say use this time right now and put together and really think, what are the systems I'm going to implement? Am I going to get involved in KV Core more often? Am I going to get involved in some kind of CRM? Because the only CRM that works, the best CRM is the one that you work with, the one you actually apply. So everybody asks, what's the best CRM? I said, the one you use. So what are you going to implement? What is your strategy to get buyers, to get sellers, to get FSBOs, to get expires and cancels and divorce and probate? What is your strategy? Do you have a strategy? If you don't, you should probably get one. If you do, fine tune it, dial it in, share it, make sure it's working just fine. Nothing worse than going, oh, no, this is fine. I got this. And then you're using it and not having a bunch of success. But if you would have gone to a couple of second opinions and say, really, tell me what you think about this business plan. And say, oh, well, that's fantastic. Oh, you know what? I tried this, this, and this. Here's what worked better for me. Just wanted to throw that out. Oh my God, that's a great idea. Saved me a ton of time. So I'm a big scripts guy. I'm a big strategy guy. I'm a big, how are we going to go after and tackle the FSBO expired canceled market? That's where I live. The probate, the divorce. That's where I live. Now I've added on, and this is another idea, aged listings. Bob talked about it a couple meetings ago. Are you kidding me? That's the lowest hanging fruit in the history of the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what strategy are you going to use? Do you have goals? Do you have number goals? Do you have, I want to do this many transactions this year. I'm going to work with this many agents, new agents this year. I'm going to bring on whatever. Do you have those goals? Do you have the number? Do you wear that number proudly? Are you going to achieve that number? Does that make sense? So make sure that if it's 50 transactions you want to do and 50 new agents you want to do, 50-50, have it everywhere. So it's in your head, that it's going to happen. What's your mission? What gets you up in the morning? What is your call to action? What is your, why are you doing this? Have clarity on that. More importantly is vision. Once you've put it all together, is it a clear roadmap? For example, we do vision boarding. I want this amazing, 40-foot diesel pusher motorhome. And I've walked in them. I've taken video of it. I've been in. I want that. I'm getting that. It's on my vision board. But more importantly, you want that. And I'm just using a material example for now. I want it. And what am I going to do to get it? What's it going to take? How much is it going to cost? When do I need to buy? And bottom line, when am I going to drive it off that lot? Does that make sense? Have that clear-cut message and know that exactly this is what it's going to take to get to where I want to go. So make sure that you have your vision. So my point is, success is these things. Are you implementing? Do you have strategy? Are you have your goals written down? Do you have a mission? And do you have the vision how to get there? So reach out to me. Let me help you. Let me be a second opinion. I'm not the expert, but I've certainly done it a number of times, at least offer you some accountability. And that's what we do on these calls. So with that said, I wanted to kind of go over just a couple more things. I've got everybody, I've talked to agents across the country on the team. And they say, oh, I don't want to be a recruiter. I just want to do transactions. I got news for you. I'm cool with that. I think it's great. When I first came to EXP, I had the same kind of attitude. And for the first couple of years, I was just, I want to do production. Ugh. Then I started thinking, gosh darn it, why in the hell did I not start building my team, my partners sooner? So if you have an agent you think is, oh my God, this agent would be perfect, or oh my God, I'd love to work with this agent, or oh my God, this agent called me and wants to know more about EXP and about getting on our team or about being a part of this process and this movement, get me on a call. Let me help you. We have multiple coaches that can help you. We're here. Help us help you. So if you have an agent that you want to bring onto the team, you have an agent that you think that this agent would be fantastic, I'd love to reach out to him. Let's do it. Let's help you grow your organization. Let's help you grow your team. Because I'm telling you what, once you find your tribe and you've got you're like, whoa, it's really a fun time. It's really a fun time. So I've sent out emails to everybody, and I'll certainly send it out again. But these are some of the questions that if you want to meet with an agent and you want to meet with me, we do have some criteria. We want to make sure that we're talking to somebody that's worthy of your time. We just don't want to, not that there's new agents need help too, and there's a certain place for that. We have an amazing mentorship program, but when you're growing your team, there are certain people that meet the parameters to be on your tribe. So you need to make sure that they follow your guidelines and your goals. And I think there's just a couple of questions that we need to ask. This is how you fill it out, and just send it over to me. Schedule a time. I'll be more than happy to do a three-way Zoom call with you, your agent, and I. So same thing goes with sellers. So many agents, I've talked to so many agents this year, and they all just, well, yeah, but they don't feel comfortable calling FSBOs. They don't feel comfortable calling expireds or canceled. I didn't either. And once you start getting the confidence and the momentum where every single day you're calling FSBOs, expired, canceled, just those. I use My Plus Leads and just call them, then text them, then email them, and stay on them and make a commitment to do that. The other day, there's like 85 opportunities in the FSBO, canceled, expired, and notice of default space. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's amazing. Just reach out to them. And if you don't feel confident, let's do it together. But get the momentum. A lot of us like to hide behind our text because if they ask a question I don't know, I can just blow it off. But they have that call reluctance because they don't want to call because they feel like they're going to ask a question that I may not be able to answer. So that's why I've laid out some pretty simple scripts to get momentum. Do you know what I do every single morning to get momentum for my day? I make my bed. I tuck it in, I do it right because it gets me fired up. It gets me the momentum. Start making those phone calls. Just make the phone calls. And if somebody gives you something you don't know, say, that's a really good question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. But if you keep it simple and limit the questions by using scripts, these are the scripts that I've put together that I'm finding that it's helping agents get momentum. You got to get the momentum. They're not going to ask you a difficult question when you say this. Hi, my name is Robert. Calling about your home at 123 Main Street. Is it still available? That's a yes or no response. Yes, it's available. Do you have buyers? Do you think in all these things? Don't overthink it. Is it available? It's a simple yes or no. It is. Great. If I was to bring you an offer at a price that was acceptable, are you willing to pay the standard 3% buyer's fee? That's a response, but also a simple yes or no. Yes, I'm willing to compensate. No, I'm not. They're not. Great. What are you willing to compensate? And there's no wrong answer, guys. If you know our platform, there's no wrong answer. And then just get them on a Zoom call with me. So you take away that fear of failing, that fear of getting, oh my God, what if they ask a question? That's the biggest reason why agents don't make phone calls, is because they figure, oh my God, what if they ask a question? Get them on a Zoom call with me and I'll walk you through it. I'll help you through that. I'll help you make the bed. I'll help you get that momentum that you need to crush the day. Does that make sense? Use these scripts. They work, I assure you. One other thing I wanted to talk about, because we've mentioned earlier, is if you were not listening to the recording, or if you were not on the call that we had a couple of weeks ago about aged listings, you're missing out huge. Go to the MLS, identify listings in your market, that are 90 days more, 180 days more. I've been doing 90 because I just don't have a lot of age and I want to have some good numbers. So I'm just calling. I'm calling the agent. Hey, is your home still available? I'm in the process of preparing an all cash offer, but I have a few questions first. Because what I don't want to do is prepare the offer before I know about the seller. Yes, the seller's insane. They'll only take $1 million. It's worth 800. I know. Well, I may not want to go through the exercise of putting a cash offer together for somebody that's insane. But my point is, you got the listing agent, the expired, almost expired. They're staring at the barrel of an expired listing, and they're this close of being expired. Why don't you put a cash offer together? If you have a cash offer solution and you call them up and say, listen, I'd like to present a cash offer. And what if you did that 100 times and got 3 new escrows? Think about it. So if you're not working the aged market, and we'll do a deep dive when we do a one-on-one. We'll do a deep dive, but if you're not calling the aged listings, you're missing out huge. So reach out to me on that. I'll certainly send that email out again to everybody else. And the last thing I wanted to bring up today is everybody calls me every single day. And they say, Robert, what's going on with REO? Robert, what's going on with Relo? Robert, what's going on with this? If you go into EXP workplace, right? Go into the REO mastermind and you can find out what's going on in the REO space, when the next training is, what banks are hiring, what's happening. Go into REO mastermind and you can really see what's going on, because that's where I go of what's going on in the REO. I know probably a little bit more than what's going on in REO mastermind, but my point is, this is where you want to go. Is you want to go to the REO mastermind to find out what's happening in the REO space. Because this is where I go for the most part. Relocation. Are you a certified relocation agent? Express offers. Nah, it's good information. It's good knowledge. It's good training. But I certainly think the Zudelio option is far better. We found that express offers, nothing wrong with it. But our Zudelio relationship that Bob's created is by far the better solution. Better than Open Door Offer Pad. And I'm finding better than most all the other cash buyers. So if you don't have the iBuyer program, go in and see Coach Kathy on Thursdays in the team suite and get educated on the iBuyers and start getting that Zudelio relationship for yourself. It's a game changer. And of course, there's lots of different lead sources in EXP. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knows about what's going on in the REO space in particular. But one thing I want to remember is, kind of things in the news. If you don't have DS News, it's right here, your daily dose, DS News. Can you see it? D as in dog, S as in Sam News, DS News. Go in and sign up for the daily dose. Everybody goes, well, what's going on in the market? What's happening in the default space? What's going on here? This is the best place, in my opinion, to get totally caught up in the default space. REO, short sale, loss mid. What's going on with banks and servicers and foreclosing and Fannie and Freddie and rates and all of that stuff will educate you in the default space. So I personally don't spend a ton of time in here, but every single day when I get this daily dose, I kind of dive in. And so I'm up to date in the default space, because it is certainly coming quicker. You watch, it'll rear its ugly head in the second quarter of next year. Mark my words. And if it doesn't happen, I'd be very surprised. So not that I wish that on anyone, but I'm just telling you, pay attention to what's going on in the default space. Last but definitely not least, and we'll wrap this call up, is what are you doing to follow up with your sellers, your past clients, your buyers, your current database that are maybe thinking of buying and selling, and your database that has already purchased from you, sold from you, whatever, is already a client. What are you doing every single month? You should follow up with somebody, in my opinion. The ones that are obviously, there's certain ways to follow up with leads, hot leads, you want to stay on those. But your database that you're touching, that you're massaging, that you're kind of dripping on, you need to have at least a monthly reminder, hey, I'm in the business. And I always like to use, like, for instance, Christmas is a great time. The holidays are a great time to follow up with folks. But New Year's, Valentine's Day, and I use those holidays. There's one every month, St. Patrick's Day. I mean, the list goes on. So my point is, what are you doing? Carla created a little, like, for instance, I have my birthdays, but then I also have holiday things. Like, she made me that Santa one. She'll do another one that's New Year's Eve based. What are you doing? Have some fun with it and drip on your database. This is just more of a, hey, happy holidays, but you also want to drop off, here's some really good nuggets of what's happening in the real estate industry. So make sure you get that automated. So with that said, I just wanted to share just a couple of things with you this holiday season. I think the biggest thing that we all need to remember is be accountable. You know, just do the things that you know you need to be doing. And here's the one last thing I'll leave with. This is one thing, I send this to everybody. This is our every single week I send my goals and actuals to everybody, and just kind of pay attention to it and kind of see what's happening with our group. You know, see what's happening with, you know, get plugged in on the Monday calls, 8 o'clock, get plugged in on those. You know, do your goals and actuals, get plugged in on the calls, come to the team meetings. Encourage your agents to come to the team meetings. Encourage your agents that you would like to be on your team, work together, a partnership. Encourage them to come and see what we're doing. And don't forget the Fridays. We got Coach Larry is doing a great job. But more importantly is we'll always let you know what live events and what training events we've got going on. We want this to be a resource for you. We want to help you. So check the email. I send them out every Sunday. And if you want to be on that list, great. If you don't, that's certainly okay too. But get plugged in. Get plugged in, because I have this saying, Carla always gets on me for this. It works if you do. If you put in the effort, you'll get it back. So with that said, we're at the end of the time here. I'd like to go around and close it up with some final remarks.
Can I
go ahead, Carla.
Can you please talk to them about the Regis space?
Yeah, Regis. Go into eXp Workplace and do some research on Regis. If you don't know about Regis, you need to, because I don't know if everyone knows about Regis. We have a discount for there where you can use free office space. Regis is fantastic. I have an office now, a branch actually with eXp in Mission Valley, but Regis is all over the country, all over the world for that matter. When we were in Hawaii, Carla and I in Hawaii, we did a lunch and learn at a Regis right in Waikiki. So it's awesome. And if there's any more specifics about Regis, go into eXp Workplace and everything you ever will need in the history of your life as a realtor with eXp is in eXp Enterprise or eXp Workplace. If you're not proficient on eXp Workplace, eXp Enterprise, and the world, we need to start back at the beginning, because those are the three most important things. Everything you'll ever need to know, ever, are in those three spots. But Regis is certainly an amazing opportunity. So did I cover the Regis, Carla? Anything else you need to know on that?
Yes, I know there was, Carmen had asked about it and someone else. So I just wanted you to explain.
Everybody asks about it a lot. It's a great place. So go into eXp Enterprise, get up all your credentials for eXp for Regis. All your Regis credentials will be in there. And anytime you have any questions, it's always a great place to go is eXp World. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go and meet with your broker or meet with marketing or meet with IT or meet with, you can get so much done. Carmen and I went there last week and went in there, and it took us like 30 seconds to get something handled. It was like, boom. And it was a complicated thing, and we got it fixed. Bam. So it's going to eXp World, obviously. Do the tour. Refresh your skills. They're always updating it. So, Carla, thanks for bringing that up. So with that said, let's start with you, Blanca. What would you like to say before we say goodbye today? Any real quick words of wisdom, any nuggets you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
I know it's the holidays, but keep working. I mean, we're building our January, our first quarter. There'll be time to rest after Christmas.
Look at that. No rest for the week. Let's go. Hey, Kevin, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today, my friend?
Plan the work the plan. Merry Christmas.
All right. Christine, what would you like to say before we say goodbye?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, push through it.
Push through it. I love it. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to you as well. Carmen, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
Your subconscious world creates your conscious world. So always have good thoughts, positive thoughts, see it in your mind first, and just go for it.
I love that. That is huge. And guys, think about that. That is fantastic. Thank you, Carmen, for sharing. Ryan Mangold, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
Appreciate you doing this. I think it's good we hop on here and kind of hold ourselves accountable, put our feet to the fire a little bit, and kind of open up about things. So thanks for doing this. And I'm always here for you or anyone on here if you guys need any help with anything.
Awesome, Ryan. It's always so good to hear. Good to have you on the call, and it's just good to have you around. You're awesome. John Citro, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
Take action every day. I know I'm going to be doing that, and be grateful, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you, man. That's awesome. I tell you, these calls, if nothing else, just get you fired up and just take on the day. Carla, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
I think while everybody else is taking this time off, stand out and keep working and make yourself seen and known, and have a happy holiday at the same time.
Woohoo! William Jackson, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
Two things. One is I'd like to warn John Citro that I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. And I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody.
All right. And I have a couple of others on the call. I typically only call those that have their camera on, so I know that they're actually there. So I want to appreciate. Oh, there's Safwan. Let's go, Safwan. I got Safwan ready. Safwan, what would you like to say before we say goodbye today?
Well, what I'm going to be doing right now is, and this is what I would encourage people to do, is that there's so many shining stars all around you. You want to grab this thing, you want to grab that thing. Take this time during your holidays to focus on honing on what you basically want to focus on. Get more clarity on what you basically want to do, especially in your real estate business for the next year, for 2023. And always stay positive, always have a great mindset, and always remember that life never happens to you. Life always happens for you.
I love it. You're always so awesome, and I appreciate you being on. Last but definitely not least, we've got Rosa Barnes. It looks like she's in Atlanta shopping, but she still has one quick message to say before we say goodbye today.
Hey guys, just wanted to say, just keep pushing and be ready for 2023.
Woohoo! Hey guys, I appreciate your time so much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Pedal to the metal. Let's make it happen. Let's make this the best week ever.